The presidential race is incredibly tight in the 7 battleground states that could decide the election. And CBS News rates all of them as toss-ups. CBS News Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto, joins us now. Anthony, any day that you've got new numbers is a great day. Tell us what the race looks like in each of these battleground states, according to our new poll.
Hey there, Nancy. Good to talk to you. Look, here's the national numbers, which is +4 Harris. Now, that's interesting, but what really counts, as you mentioned, are the battlegrounds. And that we have is +1 Harris. That is a very small shift. In fact, that is a 1-point shift from where it was last month. So just to kind of underline that idea of things being really tight, when we go out and run the CBS estimates from the models on each of the battleground states, the story here is everything is even or effectively even, right? Pennsylvania, we talk so much about, is even. And all of these states, Arizona is effectively even. Georgia, +1 Trump, that's effectively even. The story here is, people say, okay, well, a lot of folks thought Harris had a strong debate. What happened? In fact, in our polling, we had more people on net say that the debate had made them more likely to consider Harris, more so than more likely to consider Trump. Okay, but if you look inside who these folks are, they largely voted for Joe Biden in 2020. And what that tells you is that this little shift towards Harris is really her consolidating that 2020 Joe Biden base, that electorate that she needs to have a chance. But it's also explaining why you just don't see dramatic shifts in this race, because there are just so few persuadable or undecided voters, Nancy.
Anthony, one thing that's so interesting that your poll picked up on is another slight shift among voters who say the economy is super important to them towards Harris. Voters feel like the economy is getting a little better. So how are those changing views on the economy actually impacting the race?
Well, here's how. It's a little bit better, right? I've got to point out, most people still say it's bad. In fact, I'll tell you, you look inside the polling, Republicans overwhelmingly say the economy is bad, no matter how well they're doing financially. And the party out of the White House often does say that about the national economy. So there's a limit to how much this is going to move. But to the extent that it did move up towards good, the reason that that helps Harris on net is that for people who say they think the economy is getting better or improving or even just holding steady, she wins those votes. Maybe that's not a surprise for the party that is in power, but Donald Trump has the advantage on the economy, especially among those who say that it's even getting worse. All of which is to say, you're right, that she does basically do better when people feel better about the economy, including their own financial situation. And that has helped her cut in to his advantage on the economy, as you mentioned, Nancy.
You also explored shifting views on the issue of immigration, Anthony, and in particular, Trump's plans for mass deportations. What did you learn there?
Well, yeah, what we've seen, and we've seen this before, is if you test the idea of what happens if Donald Trump gets elected, would you favor or oppose the idea of deporting all people in the U.S. illegally? You do get a majority of voters, slight majority of voters in favor of that, but you get this overwhelming number among Trump voters in particular. Look, this for context, when you ask about immigrants, whether they contribute more to society, Donald Trump voters are less likely to say so. They're more likely to say that immigration is a problem, that the border is a crisis. So all of that is consistent with that narrative as well. But I will add this. This is a test in a poll that is a sort of abstract idea. When you get to particulars of policy on this or any policy, that can change. But that dialogue right now, that dynamic is still out there, sort of to be determined. But this is what you get, especially among Trump voters, on the general idea, Nancy.
And Kamala Harris headed to the border later this week. It'll be interesting to see what she has to say. Anthony Salvanto, thank you so much, as always.